Due to parts availability logistics, I'm doing a few things in a little different order than I would normally do them, but no problem. So we'll install the oil pump now. You can see that I've removed the cam wheel and the timing chain is still installed. We've got our gasket for the oil pump here. And then just need to snake this in here through here. The oil pickup tube will sit here. Now, again, this is I'm using Canton oil pan, Canton girdle, and windage tray. So this will mount here, and then we'll loosen this main cap bolt and slide this underneath and then retorque it. Here's the oil pump and pickup fully installed. I just wanted to show you that this is also a good time to install the oil pump shaft. It's a little bit buried in there, but the shaft is installed. Then we've got the oil pump installed. I would recommend that you leave all the bolts loose, installed but loose, as you line everything up. And then also want to point out the clearancing in order to not come in conflict with that main cap bolt. All right, I'm now going to quickly walk through CCing the combustion chambers of the head. The reason we do this at this stage is we don't want to assemble the head if we're going to be doing any kind of machining work to the head. So while it's still in a disassembled state, we'll check the combustion chamber volume. So in order to do that, we just need to mock up the head with the valves and the spark plugs. I just have the inner springs installed with the retainers and keepers in order to keep the valves seated enough to seal the combustion chamber. You don't have to install, the complete spring assembly. It'll make it a little easier for you. And we need to be able to set the head, make the head level. And the tools that we'll need are a plate that we'll set on the top here, like so. And you may have to fabricate your own plate. So in our case, we've got a head that's already been shaved some, so the valves are sticking above the deck surface. So we had to cut some grooves here for the valves, and then you'll need to put a hole, obviously, to enter the oil into. You'll want to use some lightweight oil, such as power steering fluid, or ATF works as well, easy to see. And then make your head level. You can use a funnel, and if you drill your hole properly, you can get the funnel so that it just kind of wedges in there flush, like so. And you'll need a small measuring device. So, this is a 30 milliliter flask, so we can measure fairly accurately down to 1 milliliter, which is the same as a CC. So pour it in, you'll have an air bubble that develops, and basically work out the air bubble out the center hole until all of the fluid reaches flush with the bottom, and see how much fluid it took. The purpose of the CCing process is so that you can identify and target a static compression ratio, and the purpose of that is twofold. One, you need to make sure that you're getting the static compression ratio you thought you were going to get with the parts that you bought. The second is, if you really want to dial in the horsepower of the engine, you're going to be dialing in a few things. First is you want to match the compression ratio exactly amongst all cylinders, so that when you identify the tune for spark timing, you don't have one cylinder that's detonating prior to another cylinder, because you'll have to run the entire engine retarded a few degrees due to that one cylinder pre-igniting. So that'll cost you power on the other 7 cylinders. So if you match the compression ratio amongst all cylinders exactly, then you can run right on the ragged edge of spark timing to get maximum power. The other reason is just to identify the octane requirement for your engine. So for this engine, we know we want to run 93 octane. So given that requirement, we know we need to hit a dynamic compression ratio. And given a dynamic compression ratio, that is a factor of the static compression ratio and your cam timing. Now, I already walked through the degreeing the cam process. So once we've documented what the cam timing is for the cam as installed in the engine, we can pop that into any online calculator and determine how that is impacting the dynamic compression ratio along with the static compression ratio. Once we've identified where we're at, we know what kind of head gaskets we want to buy, what fuel we'll need to use, etc. And we can continue with the rest of the head assembly process. This pair of heads is going to get treated with a new set of valves and springs. Now, whenever you have new valves, They're cut to an angle that should match the seat angle, but really you should lap them in order to get a perfect seal. So that's the process I'm going to describe now. So I'll just set this up here. So you'll need some valve lapping compound. You can get that at any part supply store. And you just need a little bit. All right, so something like that. Make sure you lubricate the shaft, the stem of the valve, and then also the guide. And then carefully engage. Do not get any grit on the stem. And you don't want to have the Viton seals or any other part of the assembly on the back of the head. It's just a bare head, and then we're installing the valve. And we'll use the tool here, suction cup, onto the head of the valve, and apply gentle pressure while rotating back and forth. And then allow it to go in one direction so that then you can clock it around and do it again. And you can see how the sound is changing as the grit gets spread out. Okay. That's all it takes. Pull the valve back out. Remove the grit like you're cleaning a record, an old vinyl record, or even a new vinyl record, along with the grooves. We don't want to create leak paths past the valve. And I don't know if it'll show up on the camera or not, but you'll be able to see where the valve lapping has created this 16th or 32nd of an inch wide mating surface all the way around the valve. The same will be on the seat side. Of course, clean all the grit off, both components. Don't want that coursing through your engine. And keep the valves aligned because they are being mated to that particular seat for best seal. That's why we're doing this lapping